Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, June 12th, 2025, and you're listening to the Sports Voice. I sat around through the entire first half of this golf season, eagerly anticipating the U.S. Open. And I'll be honest with you, there's not much of it that I was able to see today, but the little bit that I did clearly doesn't look like your traditional golf event at Oakmont. From what I understand, the players went out on Monday for their first practice round and complained up a storm about how high the rough was. So much so that they go to their social media sites, dropping balls in the grass, and complaining that they can't even see it. So what does the USGA do? They cave to the players. They go out Tuesday and they cut the rough, and they go out Wednesday and they cut it some more. So what do we have right now? 18 players under par in an event that you would think might have 4 or 5 usually. I cannot believe the USGA caved in to these players. They're whining and crying about a major. They're professionals. They're not amateurs. It's not supposed to be easy, especially in one of the 4 biggest events of the season. I would have loved to have seen them go on social media at the Memorial and tell Jack Nicklaus he had to cut the rough. Guaranteed he would have told them to pack up and go home. Unbelievable. I know the PGA does it on a weekly basis. I never thought the USGA would cave. It'll still be the best major of the 4. You'll still have the most accurate scores of the 4, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought whoever won was going to actually earn it, and they may by the time it's all said and done, but certainly by the whining and the crying, it has cheapened a little bit for me the nostalgia that goes with what is normally my favorite of golf's 4 majors. I'll keep you updated on what's going on there. We had a 66 shot there this morning by J.J. Spawn. We had an albatross, which is a double eagle that was scored by Patrick Reed, probably the rarest thing that is accomplished in the game of golf. And we saw an eagle on the first hole by the first player out there. So a lot to break down with the U.S. Open. Of course, it is still ongoing. There are still numerous players out on the course. J.J. Spawn at 4 under is your current leader. If I'd have told you 3 weeks ago that Aaron Rodgers would be at mandatory Steeler minicamp and T.J. Watt would not, would you have even come close to believing that? But that is the reality as far as what we've seen over the first few days of Aaron Rodgers as a Steeler. Now, basically, he's just running a basic set of plays because he says he's not yet been acclimated to the Steeler playbook. I'm not sure what's so difficult. Normally, you just take the ball, turn around, and hand it to whatever running back is behind you. But apparently, they're maybe going to let him do a little bit more than that. This will be interesting. This may be the worst decision that Mike Tomlin makes throughout his tenure as Steeler head coach. He's the one that wanted Rodgers. Rodgers is gushing over the fact that he's able to play with Mike Tomlin. Let's see if Tomlin lets Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers. Will it be Rodgers' offense or will it be the Steelers' offense? Because they're 2 different things, and you could say all you want about Arthur Smith, but in the end, it's not even Arthur Smith's offense, it's Mike Tomlin's. So it will be curious to see who wins out in the end and exactly what the Steelers are able to accomplish. An interesting story came out a couple of days ago that Mario Lemieux, Ron Burkle, and David Morehouse are apparently teaming up to put an offer in to buy the Pittsburgh Penguins back. The Fenway Sports Group, who currently owns the team, says that the Penguins are basically not for sale. They're being evaluated at $1.5 billion. The Fenway Group bought the franchise for $900 million. So they will make a pretty good penny if they sell, but I do not think they are interested in doing that. Are there pros and cons to this transaction? Sure, there are. And we can break down all of them when we talk about it. But in the end, I think maybe a lot of hope for Penguin fans who don't think the Fenway Group are nearly as invested as they need to be. But I can assure you, down the tail end of the Lemieux Burkle era, there were some really bad decisions that were made that are continuing to impact this team today. So we'll look at some of what could happen, what may happen, or what may not happen, because according to the Fenway Sports Group, this team is not being sold. So this may just be idle speculation that exists. The Pittsburgh Pirates looking more and more like a baseball team every time they take the field. You know, for all of you out there who think I know absolutely nothing about what I speak, I've said for years the biggest problem on that field. Now, I didn't say anything about the front office or the ownership or anything that revolves around that, but I said the biggest problem on that field is manager Derek Shelton. And I was told by numerous people, well, what does the manager really have to do with things? Well, I think you're starting to find out. If the manager decides to come in and run straight analytics and has no idea how, then you get the disaster that you had for the last 5 years. When you bring in someone that actually understands the game of baseball and begins to transition the players into learning the game, then it starts to make a difference. Is this a World Series team? Absolutely not. Is this a playoff team? Absolutely not. I mean, if they can get somewhere even close to 500, that's a huge accomplishment based on where they began. But Donnie Kelly actually knows a little bit about baseball. Now, the talent that's there, that's a Ben Cherington issue, and the fact that he's still there, I think, is a disgrace to what you're trying to do with that team on the field to try to elevate it potentially to the next level. I would never have let Ben Cherington run this year's draft, especially based on how badly he's run all of his previous drafts to this point, outside of picking the only sure bet, Paul Skeens, a couple of years ago. Beyond that, it's been miss after miss after miss with picks that are in the top 10 pretty much every year, including a first overall, whereas Henry Davis is starting to get a little bit better. Look at the guy he should have drafted, Marcelo Mayer, who just got called up by the Red Sox. By the way, he would have been drafted out of high school, not college, already making an impact, whereas Davis is still trying to find his way. And he's done better under the tutelage of Donnie Kelly, but look at all of the wasted years under the analytic, Derek Shelton. We had the final race of the Triple Crown. I told you it would be either journalism or sovereignty. Sovereignty ends up winning. Of course, sovereignty skipping the Preakness. So in the end, could that horse have been a Triple Crown winner? Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know. But yet another year without a Triple Crown in horse racing. And of course, anything else major that comes across the airwaves while we are here on the show, we will bring to you as we get it. A little bit of a program update so that everyone kind of knows what we're going to be doing here until 6 o'clock. So currently right now, we are TV and radio. We're streaming on Facebook, and we are on 590 AM 101.1 FM. But at 5 o'clock, that's going to switch. I'll still be on radio, but the Facebook feed will be replaced with Matt Sapienza and TJ DeStefano live at Story Square. So this is the first week of the summer concert series. And give it a few weeks, you may see an appearance by the Sports Voice at the summer concert series as well. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, make sure you keep the radio on so you're listening to me, but take a ride down to Story Square and enjoy the festivities with Matt and TJ. They'll be checking in on radio as well a few times during the 5 o'clock hour. Another change here in the lineup. No Nick Barczyk this week. I'm joined by Bill Madden. Bill, we always love having you here on the Sports Voice. Welcome back.
I'm happy to be back. And wait a minute, it's just crossing the wire. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been sold to Bob Nutting.
Oh,
No,
that's fantastic.
no, obviously.
He would never buy the Penguins, Bill. You don't have to worry about it because there's a salary cap,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
he
right.
won't get handed his free money that Major League Baseball hands him for luxury taxes and revenue sharing and all of that. So if he actually has to try to win to turn a profit, you never have to worry
No.
about him purchasing that team. So no concern, no worry there. I thought you were going to tell me there were about 18 more players that are now under par at Oakmont.
Oh, you're underestimating.
I don't
Uh,
even know where to begin. I want to start with I want to complain about what the USGA did over the last couple of days, catering uh, to these divas. That's what they are anymore. They're not even golfers anymore. They've turned into divas. They go on TV, they go on their social media channel, they whine, they cry, and then they end up getting their way. I would have never allowed that to happen if I was the USGA. The USGA takes pride in making the conditions tough, in making you grind it out, in making the winner deserve to be the winner. This is a major championship. And in my mind, this is the major of all of the other majors. This is number one. If you win this, I think that you have just won the greatest tournament each year in golf. And I cannot believe. I mean, there's some years they do it at Pebble Beach. There's nothing you can do to make that course hard for the professionals. But this one, this is considered by many to be the toughest course in the entire country. And we have J.J. Spawn, not Scheffler, not DeChambeau, not McIlroy. J.J. Spawn go out there and shoot 66 this morning. Nothing against J.J. Spawn. He's a great golfer. He's a professional. But in the end, we should not have 18. I thought there might be 5 total under par by the time this is all said and done. There's now 16 under par, but still way too many for this. This is one that I assumed somebody would win over par. There's always that possibility. We've had U.S. Opens where over par was the winning score. And if there's a course you're going to pick for that to happen, it's probably going to be Oakmont. I cannot believe for 2 days. All right, if Tuesday they go out and cut the rough, why would you cut it again Wednesday? Makes no sense to me whatsoever. I am just appalled. Like, I was so excited to sit and watch this, and now this is what we're getting in return.
Well, they're happy in the offices of the networks because low scores equals higher ratings, or at least they think that.
At least they think. I mean, maybe if you're a casual golf fan, I think people who actually golf often, not necessarily just casually, they like to, I don't want to say they like to see the guy struggle, but they like to see the fact that it's not just, oh, I can just swing at anything. I can hit, first of all, I can crank it up and hit it wherever, because even if I hit it in the rough, it looks just like the fairway. Then you get out there and you're like, oh, well, I can spin this ball no matter what. I'm going to hit it right at the pin and see if I can get it to stick there. I mean, that's not real. That's fantasy golf. That's why I call these events fantasy golf. There are a few places where you don't see that, but the PGA Tour is catered to these guys. They don't want to be on TV having people watch them bogey holes. They want to, with their ego stroke, show that they can birdie literally any hole on any golf course, and the PGA Tour just accommodates them. And then they talk about, well, these score, look at, they shot 29 under, they shot 30 under. Yeah, sure they did. Look at all the 59s we've had in recent years. It's not because the players are better. It's not even because the equipment is better. It's because the conditions are manipulated so that it's pristine for them out there to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do with a golf ball. And they've got enough advantages now with this new technology, which is 1,000 times better than what these golfers used 30, 40, 50 years ago. But now the conditions have to be ideal. Go out and manicure the greens. Cut the rough down. That's what they do at Augusta. That is not what they should be doing at Oakmont. In the end, it'll still be the best one of the 4. And I think whoever wins it will deserve it. But it's not necessarily the challenge that I thought it was going to be. Phil Mickelson shot 4 over. Phil Mickelson should be about 20 over after the first round. He shot 4 over. That should tell you right now the conditions are way too easy for a major. If it was a regular stop on tour, fine with it. This is a major. They should not be able to get whatever they want. They should be told, if you don't like it, go home. And none of them will, because it's a major and they all want to be there and they all want to win it. And of course, the payoff is astronomical. So clearly, that's going to motivate players to be there as well. There were high scores also, but in the end, we're just seeing things that we really shouldn't see at what I believe is golf's greatest event. I can't believe the USGA caved. They normally don't, Bill. I can't believe they caved.
And it's not the USGA necessarily, but there's probably a thought out there that, boy, if we make these guys unhappy, they'll go play on the Live Tour.
Well, the Live guys are there.
Yeah,
it's not a PGA event. It's the U.S. Open run by the USGA. So the USGA is not going to care if they play on a Live Tour because they don't have their own tour.
Apparently,
Live guys are there. Kepka's up there. Yeah. He's a former champion. He's 1 under. So there are a not even a handful. There are more Live guys. Yeah. Mickelson's a Live guy. So there's a decent amount there.
And, that's the fun of watching these too, is especially if you're a golfer, is that they do shank them into the woods every now and then, and you go, well, I can do that.
Right. And I think, once again, not that you're rooting for these guys to do horribly.
Yes, we are.
But I think people can sit there and say, well, hey, I do that. Yeah. You want to grow the game of golf, put people on there that are human. Don't put a bunch of robots out there that can just swing and hit wherever they want. They're already professionals. We know that. You don't need to rub it down everybody's throats constantly with them just being able to just hit the ball straight at the hole, let it stick there. How about a hard green where you hit it straight at the hole and it bounces and jumps and goes off? Let's let them actually have to use some skill instead of just the technique that's necessary to do whatever it is they want to do. So a couple of just stories to point out since I guess I'm on this now. Maxwell Moldovan from, get this, Uniontown, Ohio. I didn't even know that place existed. Yeah. First guy out there today, eagles the first hole. He didn't start on the back either. He started on the front. Eagled the first hole, and for a period of time was leading the U.S. Open at 2 over. He ends up at 6 over. Or he was leading at 2 under. He ends up at 6 over for the day. But still, that's a pretty good accomplishment for someone that probably most people had no idea who he was going into it. And then the rarest thing to accomplish in golf, the albatross. That's a double eagle for everyone out there, which means that you are 3 under on a hole. Patrick Reed, who, by the way, is a Live Tour guy, gets a 2 on the par 5 fourth hole, hits it in from 260-some yards or something like that. One of the it is, from what they say, the rarest feat in golf. It's more rare than a hole-in-one. There are, I forget how many hole-in-ones averaged throughout the year. This is a much more less significant amount. So something else you don't necessarily think you're going to see in the U.S. Open at Oakmont, but, there's nothing you could do. You're 268 yards out. You're just hitting and hoping at that point. You're trying to keep it on the green on a par 5. So a couple of, huge events that took place today. And there are some high scores, and there are some names that are up there that maybe some people had thought would play a little better on the first day that struggled. But for the most part, we're seeing some lower than usual scores taking place. And we've got 3 more days. Brings a lot of attention to the local area, brings a lot of people to the local area, and a lot of money to the local area. There's a lot going on there. Are you going down at all, Bill?
No, I am not. I have too much work to do here, so I will not be able to make it. But and also the beauty of the Open is it's an Open. You've got every golfer that can qualify it's not invitation, well, there's automatic invitations to some of them, but still, and there is always the possibility that some ham and egger can put together the game of his life.
Yes. And there are guys that aren't in this that tried to qualify and couldn't, that are really good golfers. Max Homa. Max Homa is a really good golfer, one of the better golfers on the PGA Tour. Ended up a couple weeks ago firing his caddy in the middle of the round. So he goes to the Open qualifier carrying his own bag around and missed it by, I think, 1 stroke or something like that. So there's a top probably 70, 80 golfer in the world who's not in the U.S. Open. So it's a strict qualifying. They bring those club pros. Because it's the USGA members are able to attempt to qualify for this thing. So you've got a variety of different players that are in this field that you won't see in any other field out there, which makes it a unique event. And as I said, usually the toughest to score at of all of the four majors that we get. I call Nicklaus's Memorial the fifth major because to me, I think is a much better representation of a major than the PGA Championship is most years. But this is a big one, and the fact that it's at Oakmont makes it even bigger for our local area. So a lot of golf still to be played. We'll see if the conditions get any tougher tomorrow. Normally it's the greens. The greens are what's really, really tough to putt on, but a lot of wet weather over the last week or so. I'm not sure if they look like polished glass at this point.
Yeah, well, and we will see. I'm especially if they go and cut the rough again.
Well, they better not. The cutting of the rough better be done at this point.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen is that they're going to finish the round today, and then you're going to hear nothing but how tough this course is, how challenging this course is. The media is going to say it, the players are going to say it, and the USGA is going to say it.
Well, compared to what a weekly event looks like on the tour, this is super challenging compared to what these guys are used to. And the Live Tour doesn't make it any tougher. It's just as easy for them as well. So that's what the guys want. They want it easy. They want to look good on camera, and we continue to cater to that. That would have never happened in the 80s and 90s. Never. I mean, Tiger Woods these things weren't super easy. He was shooting way under par. Nobody else was. Yeah. So it's not that all of a sudden we have better golfers than we've ever had before. They've changed as far as making the conditions. The equipment has helped because they're able to hit the ball further, and that makes a big difference. And when you look at the technology that's used to make the golf ball, a lot of them are softer than what they used to be. So you're able to hit it, spin it. You're able to do pretty much whatever you want to do. However you manage to hit it with the club, you're able to make that ball move in sync with that. So it is easier as far as the technology goes to hit a better shot, to, I guess, get the result you're looking for. But to make the conditions pristine for these guys, that to me is just, they already have an advantage. They don't need anything else. The fact they're a professional, to me, is an advantage. There's nothing else in my mind that they need to help them anymore along the way. I wonder, do you think Tiger Woods is playing Oakmont on his simulator this week just so he can pretend like he's there?
Yeah, he might, or maybe he's just relaxing and enjoying his billions of dollars.
Well, they've reached out and gotten a ton of comments from him because I believe he won at Oakmont, did he not?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so he's, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. I was Ernie Els won one year, Angel Cabrera won one year. Maybe Woods didn't. Right. I have to look it up. You can see. Obviously, you can see I've not had a whole lot of time today to do any research on anything. I knew a little bit though. I was happy with what I knew. If you're looking for your favorite golfer, well, you can look kind of at the top. There's a few of them up there. At 1 under, which is 3 back, I see Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Reed. So, some of the bigger names are there. Adam Scott shot even this morning. That's, I think, a really good score. Yeah, Adam Scott's a great player, but he's also in his mid-40s, so let's not forget about that. I'm going through the even. Cam Young is there. Jonathan Vegas. Joaquin Neiman, who's a really good player, is at even par. So, yeah, there's some up there. And then you have to go down a little ways. DeChambeau, I think, was either 3 or 4 over. He's done for the day. He shot 3 over. But at that, he's tied 71st. Like, normally, if you shoot 3 over at the U.S. Open, you're in the, top 30. And there's just a ton of people. But there's still a lot of guys out on the course. Rory shot 4 over. But even at that, Oakmont's a par 70. So you have 2 less par 5s. That, I think, also is why the scores are always a little higher, because the players normally dominate these par 5s, and you only have 2 of them. So to shoot 4 under, I mean, to me, that's a great score. I wouldn't break probably 120 if I went to Oakmont, but I'm also not a professional golfer playing in a major. To shoot 66 in the U.S. Open there, something's a little fishy with that. So nothing against, I'm sure Spawn shot the round of his life, but I don't think it should have been possible for him to do that.
By the way, we can sum up the problem they're having with golf in just what we've talked about in the last half hour. We've mentioned Tiger Woods twice.
Yes. Well, you have to, or nobody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, or they don't even know we're talking about golf.
No, or I could say Phil Mickelson. He, by the way, is 4 over 74, tied for 83rd. He might actually make the cut in this thing.
Yeah,
Oh, we can only hope. Not only will I get to hear him complain on the weekend, maybe I'll get to see him cheat again, because last time it was there, he ran up and hit the ball while it was still moving and took a penalty because he knew it would be a penalty, but it would have been probably 8 more strokes that he had to keep putting. So, in the end, that's your U.S. Open, everyone. So right now, there's still the second half of the groupings, they're still out there. Some of them aren't even halfway done. So there's still a lot of golf left to be played in the first round. We have a tie right now at the top at 4 under. J.J. Spawn in the clubhouse. Sung J.M. Once again, really good player, Sung J.M. 4 under after 10 holes. Something's wrong there. So hopefully the USGA fixes this and we get to see something that looks more like what it should look like tomorrow. And people may be watching it on TV and saying, hey, I love this. They're out there making birdies and this is great. It's a great look for golf. It's whatever you like. I don't like it. It's okay if you like it. But for me, I was expecting a little more out of this. I think because I get so excited for it every single year. So we'll keep you updated through the show. If anything changes, I will let you know. We'll see if we can get a 5 or 6 under. Maybe someone will shoot 59 there today, and they can go on and talk about what a great individual round that it was. So stay tuned. We'll give you more as we get it. All right, I'm going to take the first break here of the first hour. When we come back, we'll talk Steelers. There's that mandatory minicamp. Nobody's really allowed to report on that unless they say something good. So, everybody, I'm sure, looks great, just like they tell you at St. Vincent's till you see the first week of the season. And you start scratching your head trying to understand how they looked so great there and don't look like that on the field. But we'll tell you a little bit about Aaron Rodgers, the contract that he signed, what it means, and T.J. Watt holding out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Warm weather is finally here, and with it, the opportunity to upgrade your lawn or yard with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown, All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has a fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Neutrina products and carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies too. So whether you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are looking to install an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers for you. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Fireworks Over Fayette is back as the county continues its 250th festivities. Join us the evening of Sunday, June 29th as we cap off this year's epic celebration of our county's incredible history. The annual tradition of fireworks filling the Fayette County night sky is being led this year by Faith Assembly of God. Are you a past sponsor who might have interest in helping out again this year? We would love to have your support again as we continue this annual tradition honoring America. If you are interested in helping to sponsor Fireworks Over Fayette, please call 724-437-8101 or email faithassembly at allison@myfaithassembly.org. So mark your calendars for Sunday, June 29th and make your plans for viewing as Fireworks Over Fayette returns. Get your lawn chairs and blankets, connect with friends and family, and celebrate under the stars. Fireworks Over Fayette will once again be best viewed in the vicinity of the Uniontown Mall and will begin shortly after 9 p.m. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, a part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
I've been thinking about switching primary care providers. It takes forever to get an appointment, and when I finally get in, the staff acts like they don't even care that I'm there.
That's so frustrating. You deserve a provider who listens, values your time, and truly cares about your health.
That's exactly what I need. Someone who sees me as a person, not just another name on a chart.
Then you should check out Montgomery Medical. They treat you like family, offer personalized care, and even have same-day appointments.
At Montgomery Medical, your health is our priority. Call 724-569-8100 Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
Saving money when you buy a new home isn't a fantasy. It's reality at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. With up to $5,000 in instant savings during the Sign and Save sales event, it's the perfect place to find the home you've always wanted. So don't let your dream home stay a fantasy. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon today at 4500 PA 51. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. If you're just tuning in, we are on Facebook for the first hour, but then we'll be switching to radio only for hour 2 of the show. Matt and TJ are live at Story Square. They'll be starting at 5 o'clock. So if you turn on the WMBS Facebook, you'll see them streaming. Make sure you keep your radio on if you do that so you can still listen to me. I'll be talking probably Pirates and Penguins in that second hour, in addition to any other fun stuff that comes across. So that's our update for today. Today kicks off the summer concert series at Story Square. As far as the Sports Voice, we spent the entire first segment talking about the U.S. Open, which is being held at Oakmont today and the next 3 days. Currently, J.J. Spawn and Sung J M are in the lead at 4 under. Yes, you did not hear me wrong. That's under, not over. There are currently 17 golfers right now who are out there or in the clubhouse who are under par. Kind of unheard of for the U.S. Open at Oakmont. Shifting gears a little bit, time to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is a conversation that might go even into the second hour. I thought I was going to start with them and then got all fired up on the very easy conditions in my mind at Oakmont. So looking at the Steelers, they had mandatory minicamp this week, and it also coincided with the first appearance of Aaron Rodgers. We talked last week about Rodgers agreeing in principle with the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 1-year deal. He actually signed it over the weekend. It's worth $13.5 million, $10 million of that guaranteed, and there's an opportunity to get up to $6 million in incentives. So by the time it's all said and done, the potential could be $19.5 million for a 41-year-old quarterback whose only Super Bowl win came when it was fumbled to him by Pittsburgh Steeler running back Rashard Mendenhall. But in the end, this is the decision that was made because the Steelers have to win at least 9 games. They will not accept any more or less most years. That's what it has to be. They have to get to that threshold because that's the mean. When you heard the son of the clown talking about where the Steelers were and what they were happy with, he said we consistently achieve over the NFL mean, which apparently is 500. So the fact that there's never been a losing season for Mike Tomlin, I'm sure guarantees the fact that they're all happy in the ownership group. I remember when they weren't happy unless they were winning Super Bowls. Now apparently it doesn't even matter if you make the playoffs. You just have to be over 500. So this was the Band-Aid this year to get them to at least 9 victories. Let's bring in Aaron Rodgers. Now, Rodgers is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not going to take away any of his stats or anything from his career, but that's the only Super Bowl that he's won with some pretty loaded teams, I thought, throughout his years in Green Bay. Most of it is because he made them loaded teams, but there was a guy playing in Foxborough who had a similar situation, and he ended up winning 6 with one team and 1 with another. So in the end, start balancing it out. Now, what sort of a teammate is Aaron Rodgers, and how will the local media and the local fan base react to Rodgers? Well, Rodgers claims after all these months, this is where he wants to be. He made all these comments about what makes his soul feel good, talking about Mike Tomlin and this Pittsburgh Steelers situation. Apparently, it wasn't making his soul feel real good all the way back in February and March, but once you make your way into June, all of a sudden now it's okay. But I'll give him credit. At least he showed up at mandatory minicamp this week. So Rodgers is there saying, just basically doing some drills, not a whole lot because he doesn't understand the super thin playbook of Arthur Smith. By the way, if anyone out there thinks Arthur Smith is actually calling the plays on this offense, I don't even want to know what's going on inside your head. This offense has been the same for years. It's Mike Tomlin's offense. Arthur Smith is just the puppet in charge running it now. There could be someone else very soon, possibly even after this year, because when Russell Wilson went rogue and did his own thing and put up 400-plus yards passing and over 40 points, he got called into the principal's office and screamed at for it, and then made sure he didn't do that again, and the Steelers didn't win again the rest of the year. Rodgers isn't going to be that guy. Rodgers is not going to be chastised and scolded. If Rodgers is told he can't audible, he still will. If Rodgers is called in about it, he'll be on Pat McAfee the next day telling the world. This, to me, I think is a huge mistake for the micromanaging Mike Tomlin, because he wants to be in control. But the reality is, when Aaron Rodgers is on your team, Aaron Rodgers is in control. Ask the last few coaches that he had, because that's what you're going to get from them. Remember, he got Robert Saleh fired last year partway through the season because Saleh tried to tell him how to run the offense, and he went to ownership and ended up winning that battle when it was all said and done. So this is not going to be something, unless Rodgers is doing whatever Rodgers wants to do, then you can absolutely forget about this being amicable and peaceful, and it will end bad by the time it's all said and done. Because if Rodgers is running those plays and they're losing, he's going to get immediately frustrated, because the optics are it's because he's not a very good quarterback, or he's washed up, or so on and so forth. And he's not going to allow that to be said if he's not able to defend himself and say, hey, they won't let me do anything differently. The Steelers are the 4th, I believe, most rushing attempts in the league last year. And Rodgers, I believe, had the 2nd most passing attempts in the league last year. So something's got to give here, because you're looking at 2 different philosophies from a head coach and a quarterback, but they want each other. Tomlin wanted Rodgers here so badly. Rodgers says he wanted to be here so badly. Bill, I don't see this ending in anything but disaster by the time it's all said and done.
And I think you're being generous to think they'll have a 500 record. I mean, there's no guarantee there. I mean, we should start an office pool as to how many games Rodgers actually plays. Yeah, because...
You think he's going to get injured, or you think they're going to bench him? Like, what do you think?
They're not going to bench him, no, but he can be a little fragile.
Well, that is true.
You know,
I mean, he missed the whole season a couple of years ago. So.
Well, his ego, too, but that's another matter altogether.
Well, the ego is immense. I mean, there's no one more important to Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers. So that's you don't have to worry about that.
Or how about an office pool as to how long it takes for him to go on McAfee's show and complain about the offense?
As soon as they tell him he can't call his own plays. Yeah. And there's not a lot of talent there. Nick and I were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. Like, when you listen to the comments that were made by Terry Bradshaw in regards to how the Steelers treated Kenny Pickett, you can think whatever you want about Kenny Pickett, but a lot of what Bradshaw said is still true today. They don't have a line that can block for that offense. And if that's the offense they're going to run, as you said, Aaron Rodgers is slow and fragile. He's going to get annihilated back there. If he can't do his own thing, and he doesn't like motion, well, for his sake, most of the Steelers, they don't understand motion. So it's not like he could call and have them moving in all these directions, but he doesn't want it. He didn't want it in Green Bay. He didn't want it in New York, and he had better talent both places. Green Bay runs it now. Look at how impressive that offense is with a bunch of no-name wide receivers. Imagine if they had stars there. And the Jets had Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. They had a lot of talent there last year. The Steelers don't have that. You have DK Metcalf, and you have a bunch of 4s and 5s. At this stage of his career, Robert Woods is a 4. He was always a number 3 possession guy. Austin, Roman Wilson's the great unknown. We've not seen him at all. Calvin Austin's supposed to be the fastest player in the history of the NFL, but most of the time they can't get the ball to him. Freiermuth, supposed to be this great weapon at tight end. They certainly pay him like he is, and he underperforms every year, or he gets injured. I still say he's one concussion away from retirement. And you've got a bunch of first and second year players. One, your number 1 pick last year, hasn't played a down, so you're going to try to insert him somewhere. You don't even know where you're going to put him. One, you traded up for Broderick Jones to make him left tackle. He couldn't play left tackle. You put him at right tackle. Eventually, he couldn't play right tackle either. So there's a lot of unknown and uncertainty on that line. If they can't block for Rodgers, there you go, Bill. That'll be the first time he's on Pat McAfee complaining up a storm.
Yeah, there you go. And so I give it a week. Yeah, week 2, week 3. I mean,
and then who do you go to? Let's say that he goes down, because the fan base is going to be clamoring for Will Howard. They don't know the first thing about Will Howard outside of the fact that he jumped ship, went to Ohio State, won a national championship there, and then was drafted late in the draft. But that's their guy. They look at his size. They think he's Ben Roethlisberger. They're totally bypassing Mason Rudolph. What happens if Rodgers goes down and then they bring Rudolph in, which we know is what they're going to do because Tomlin doesn't trust rookies, and then Rudolph struggles, and then you bring Howard in and he gets annihilated? I mean, this could be a disaster of a season, but I guess in the end, and we're not going to get to the Watt stuff until we come back from break. So in the end, Bill, just to sort of wrap this up, is that what they need? Do they need a disaster of a season because they don't have a legit quarterback for next year? Does this get them in a position where they're forced to take their quarterback of the future? Or do they trade that pick to bring in a safety again or something that's going to help them win 9 games? Because to me, they want to win 9 games more than they're concerned about next year's draft.
And actually, it would be the best thing if Aaron Rodgers turned out to be a complete bust, and they did win only 4 games. Hello, nice draft pick.
Yes, but will they take a quarterback or will they take a linebacker?
That's a good
You
question.
never know with that team.
Trade down, and you can get maybe 2 or 3 picks for the one.
The genius, Omar Khan. He's the master of the salary cap. So what do? Let's make him GM. Let's let him go out. Look at the great drafts the Steelers have had in recent years. Most of those picks aren't even with the team. Look at the first picks they had. Harris, Pickett, Claypool. Those guys aren't even around anymore. A lot of wasted drafts. So we have to still talk about TJ Watt, who's not in camp. We'll talk about the holdout and what he wants. We'll talk Pirates looking a little better, whether or not the Penguins will actually consider selling the team to Lemieux and Burkle. We'll check back in with the U.S. Open. And, of course, we're going to be checking in with Story Square. And also, this is the end of our Facebook feed, so we'll be radio only for the second hour. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of the Sports Voice is coming up.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots.